we'll love to hear them.
Right. And the other thing is, feel free to write in the comments. What do you define as abuse?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's version might be completely different. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure in general, everybody is the same, but the version they probably received or the version that they see might be different.
Yeah.
Because, abuse is, that means you have a certain power
Mm-hmm.
that you can exert that you know that there will be no retaliation from, or you assume that there's no retaliation from,
Mm-hmm.
because you're more powerful in that particular space. For a man, it might be physically, punching a woman or whatever the case may be, or beating her up. For a woman, it might be also physically punching a man, and knowing that if I call the police, the likelihood of me going to jail is low.
Yeah.
So now you're abusing, as a woman, they abuse their power in that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a tricky thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of those things that just needs to stop.
What do we say to people who don't correlate toxicity or toxic behavior to abuse? Because right now, my stance is toxic and abuse is the same thing.
It's the same thing.
And it's not always physical. Like we said, we're not saying it's, I feel like that's my stand on it. Toxic behavior is a form of abuse and manipulation to get what ones want, to get what somebody want, to keep you in a circle, to believe this, that, and the third. If your girl walking up to you say, honey, how this look? And you're like, it's okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or you look great. We have to work on those other love languages and words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Build our partners up too. I think as much as the toxic stuff tries to creep in, you got to counter that with the good things.
Yeah.
The things that make your partner, your person feel better about themselves. You know what I'm saying?
So what if those things don't change? So what if you're trying to counter this? So just say you don't even come from a toxic world.
Right.
You're not a toxic person, or whatever the case may be. All you stick to is the regular love languages, the basic stuff that everybody should be sticking to, and just taking care of your person. What if that just ain't enough for the person? They just gotta argue. They just gotta disturb your peace. What's the move then?
Then that's not the person for me, because a person that's for you or for me is not going to willingly disturb your peace.
Right.
They're not going to want to trigger you. I don't believe that. If someone purposely triggers you, they don't care about you.
Yeah.
They want to see you at your worst self. So I wouldn't put myself in a situation to be triggered by people or by someone or in a relationship that's going to bring out the worst in me. No. I want to be around somebody that's going to bring out the best in me.
Right.
Even when I'm not feeling my best.
Right.
Even when I feel like, man, I'm feeling down and out. I still want that person to be able, if they can, to be that positive reinforcement in my life.
Right.
But I'm not willingly going to stay in something if someone is purposely trying to trigger me and or be toxic, especially when my energy is toward being positive. No, I just think that's unwise.
Right.
But I think people get to relationships like that where they have people who are doing the things that make them feel good, and he's just bored, or he's just so methodical, or he's just so routine. Me and we get routine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you have things like this that come around like Valentine's Day where we got to try to be creative and whatever case may be. But if routine is healthy, why be against it?
Right. What do you think the infatuation is with the bad guy versus, like, you hear the term all the time, good guys finish last.
Yeah.
What do you think the infatuation is with the bad guy?
I think it starts with what happened in the household and what they consume in the media and their friends. We are, most of us, products of our environment.
Right.
Whether that environment is your household, your school, your job, right, or your extracurricular activities. I feel like we're a product of that. So in that sense, when they say they want a guys with a little edge or a little something to them, I don't say, I'm not going to, at least me personally, I'm not going to profess to be this perfect dude.
Right.
I got a little edge to me, but it's not to the extent of hurting my partner.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not to that extent. It's like, hey, you got to have a little something to you, because some guys might just be naturally passive.
Right.
Some guys might be naturally aggressive. You know what I'm saying? And same thing with women. Some women come off a lot of harsh.
Right.
And we talked about those alphas.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about those type of women that come off like that in the last episode.
Right.
So, I mean, for me, man, I feel like it's just a matter of preference at this point. I mean, because I don't see nothing wrong with someone dating an ex-con versus a man who's never had done time.
What about a current con?
A current con criminal?
What about a situation where you in a relationship with somebody who's currently consistently in and out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
They currently consistently not so you got that, then you got they cheating on you, they talking to you crazy, but this good girl who going to work, doing her job or whatever the case may be, might not even be like just that toxic person, but in a situation where she has to fight or argue because they in a relationship with somebody. Like how long does why does this stuff last so long?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. I think it's all about your what's the word? Your meter, your how much you can take.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, within yourself. I think you want to come to the table with your person and have this conversation. Hey, this A and B not working for me, and I think now that hasn't been happening in relationships.
Right.
It's now that pods like ours and others, it's created a platform. At least if couples can't talk about it face to face, hey, watch this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These gentlemen are talking about X, Y, and Z. And this is how I may agree with that situation. You know
with that being said, if you talking to that woman who got that toxic ass dude who constantly in situations where they in and out of jail, always got some shit going on, nothing positive for the most part.
Yeah.
What did you tell that woman?
Leave.
So year one. How long? How many chances does that person get?
I think we often give people multiple chances, but a person show you who they are the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, they will show you the first time something doesn't go their way, or
that's true. But you gotta attain for mistakes.
Right.
People do make.
Hey, I'm not preaching perfection at all.
Yeah. So just say year one.
I would say consistent or habitual behaviors. Habitual behaviors of wrongdoing.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
But honestly, it don't even have to be wrongdoing.
Okay.
In my opinion, and this is my advice to anybody in relationships. I think it's habitual behavior of things that I don't like.
Yeah.
So if you smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
And I don't like, now this is year one. We start dating or whatever the case may be, for the most part, everybody got their representative out there. Once the representative leaves, now you get, because the person has gotten comfortable, now you get in a situation where now the real person that you're dating is coming out. All of a sudden, they fire up a cigarette while y'all in the car.
Newport.
You're like, whoa. It's been 2 months, 3 months. I ain't never seen you smoke a cigarette. So where does cigarette come from?
So you saying real quick, I just want to, I want to interrupt. So are you saying people aren't genuine in the beginning stages of relationships?
Of course not.
Most
people are not.
So how long before you start with dating a person that you begin to know the real them?
With a man, it's most of the time it's fairly soon after you have sex.
You get to know him. So after he hit, he get to show his true self.
Yeah.
And what if he hit on the first night?
Well, I mean, that kind of depends on the situation, because you can genuinely mess with somebody and date them, if they hit on the first night.
Yeah.
But sometimes, they disappear. So it ain't no relationship. You know what I'm saying? So you got, like I say, my time frame. Ain't nobody holding their representative up for more than 2 to 3 months.
Wait, representative? Wait, what's that?
Yeah. Ain't nobody holding that representative up for more than 2 to 3 months. After that, you start to see who the real person is. Yeah.
Hey, that's funny.
As men, we'll pretend for as long as we need to.
No, wait. Pretend?
Yeah.
So we gonna fake it till we make it?
Of course.
So we gonna go to, what's that movie I think he said? He said he'll cry if he got it. Whatever he do, whatever it take to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Fat Heartbeat. JT Matthews. And then he turned around and looked at his brother like, you look like I got to cry to get some.
Right. So that's toxic, bro.
It's toxic, but it's
that's game though. That's the game.
It's the game.
Yeah, that's the game.
Because the thing is, you're trying to put your best. Well, as men, we attempt to put our best forward.
Yeah.
Women, they also should be doing the same thing. But also we have to be real with who we are. So women, when you in that situation, and then so to go back to the point,
right? I'm sorry.
So how many chances people should get? So all of a sudden, 2 to 3 months later, this person starts smoking cigarettes.
Right.
That is a no-go, a no-fly zone.
I swear.
You turn the person, y'all little cutesy face. You like, oh yeah, what's your pet peeve? Oh, smoking cigarettes. Yeah. And he's like, ooh, let me not smoke no cigarettes around. So 2 to 3 months later, all of a sudden, y'all in the car.
The big puff.
Wait a minute. Right. So now you like, hey man, when you start smoking, like, you know what, I've been kind of smoking. I just, my bad.
Out of respect for you.
Yeah, I just want to do it. And then you're in that situation and the person agrees. Now this is an agreement. The person agrees to say, hey, look, I'm gonna stop smoking, or I'm gonna stop smoking around you, and I'll make sure I never smell like cigarettes. My breath never smell like cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? So even if I do keep smoking, you'll never know it.
So that
2 months.
Go ahead.
That's now if the person agrees, that's a compromise. We're in a compromise. So now a month later, like, damn, you just said a month ago that you're so. Now this your pet peeve. Now this is your deal breaker. You don't deal with people who smoke because you just don't like it.
Right.
So how long do you deal with that? So the problem is you got so many people in relationships who break up 5 years later for the same deal breaker that they had on year one.
Yeah.
So, girl, why you break up with him? He was smoking, but he was smoking the whole time y'all was together, wasn't he? Like, yeah, but he know I ain't like that and this, that, and the third. So translate that from smoking to him talking to you crazy. Translate that from smoking to him putting his hands on you. Translate that from smoking to him not coming in, or her not coming in, or her being abusive. So you need to shut that shit down, because now you just wasted 4 years of your life in a situation that you could have ended in year one.
Yep.
You had 2 to 3 months in, and now you've been unhappy, and going back and forth with this person and trying to compromise and trying to work something out that will never work out, because you will never be comfortable with that. You compromised one time and y'all made an agreement. The problem is he lied to you. Now, on the other side of that, if he said, look, I'm not changing nothing. I'm not changing nothing. It's either you have to deal with it or you don't. If you choose to deal with that,
you're no longer a victim.
You're no longer
a victim. You're a participant at that point. You're a participant at that point.
In him smoking cigarettes. You might as well buy him a pack every day.
And I think that goes back to how you mentioned about how a convict, and that's why I was trying to land on that point, or why women do it. Once you see a pattern of certain behaviors, and you speak your piece on it, but it doesn't change, you are no longer a victim of the situation. You are a participant.
Yeah, you're an enabler.
That's why if you're in the car,
you have no complaint. You can't complain no more.
If you're in the car with somebody after they rob a bank, and you go with them and do it, you are what? An accomplice.
Yeah.
So you're going to get charged just as equally as the person who actually done the crime.
Exactly.
So we are guilty of toxic behavior when we allow it to continue.
Exactly.
When we know it's not what we wanted.
You're just as guilty as the person who's being toxic. So you have to value yourself enough to step away from the situation, especially if this situation is not something that you want to be with, not something that you want to deal with, not something that you want to be in, and something that you know for a fact that you can't be in long term. If you're a woman and you're coming into this situation with kids, you need to account for that.
Yeah.
Because now your kids are watching you in this toxic situation, and they might not even been. If you're a person that ain't never been in a real toxic relationship like that, they probably never seen like somebody come around and talking to their mama crazy and all this other stuff.
It might be new.
So you know what I'm saying? So all of this stuff might be new. So if subconsciously, self-consciously, you got to value yourself more than what you do, and then remove yourself from the situation. That go for men and women.
Yeah.
Like if your value is enough, you'll never deal with nothing that you don't have to.
So what do we say to the people out there who enjoy this type of behavior, who enjoy their girl popping up? Or if I'm out at the club with my guys, or she out with her homegirls, you popping up, acting a fool and all that. There are people out there who straight say he love me or she love me because they behaving this way.
Yeah.
What do we say to people like that?
Get therapy.
Yeah.
Get therapy, because mentally there's a disconnect somewhere.
Yeah.
Because those situations don't end well. They never do.
They never do.
They never do. It's always fighting. It's always this is the reason why a lot of us as kids probably saw parents fight.
Yeah.
It's because they was in toxic situations that they shouldn't have been in.
And people stay for children, and that's me being a parent. That's not a good idea. No. I think sometimes you have to separate yourselves for the sake of the children. Yep. Staying in it and letting the children witness toxic behavior, arguing and bickering.
Exactly.
It's not healthy.
It's creating a new norm.
Exactly. And children need to see Black love. They need to see love in the household, whether it's a co-parenting household, whether it's a two-parent household, one parent. I think that is the root of how we can reinvent this wheel of love languages.
And more importantly, they need to see respect in the household.
Yeah.
So, you can, I always say this, but you can love somebody to the end of the earth.
And not respect
them. If you ain't, but you ain't, that don't mean you respect them.
Yeah.
Because you ain't going to say certain shit to them if you don't respect them. You're not going to do certain shit if you respect them. So show respect. That's bigger than anything that you can do. Mm-hmm. Because your respect and loyalty is like this.
Yeah.
Respect and love. They love over here, respect and loyalty over here. So you loyal to somebody you respect all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely the same.
Just because I love you, I ain't gotta respect you. Yeah. I got people that I love that I don't even like.
Elaborate on that. You got people that you love, but you don't like them.
Yeah.
You can have one without the other.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Because you got family members.
Oh yeah.
You got family members that you don't even talk to.
Yeah.
You love them, but you don't like them. You don't have. I don't have to like you because I love you.
I think we could have that for a future episode. Loving someone and being in love with someone. I think that's definitely a topic for another discussion.
Next level.
But to that, so we can like people but not love them, and we can love people and not like them.
Yep. Exactly.
I was today years old, y'all, when I figured that out.
Those things are not synonymous. They do not walk hand in hand across the street together. One will stay across the street and the other will go on. Yeah. I got plenty. You got to think about this too. Mm-hmm. Every family member, might not even everybody you consider family is not related to you. Okay. And everybody related to you don't consider family.
Right? Blood don't make you family.
No, it don't.
Yeah, I agree.
It never have. It never will.
I agree with that.
So it's because you got plenty of relatives that you would give that you wouldn't do nothing for, but as soon as I call you, say, "Oh, what you need?
Facts.
I got you."
Facts.
You know what I mean? So it ain't about. It's not about the family portion. Y'all just related. Mm-hmm. Relatability means because y'all got something in common. The thing y'all got in common is people who
knocking boots.
Right, exactly. My granddad and your granddaddy was brother and sister.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Was you know what I'm saying? Was brothers.
Yeah.
So it ain't like love and loyalty, love and respect. None of them things walk hand in hand. Yeah. It's only a couple of things that walk hand in hand.
Yeah. What I've been doing a lot, man, just on my personal page. Oh man, I lost my mic a little bit. On my personal pages is just promoting. Sorry, guys. Promoting just growth in general.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of what I'm doing now, just outside of pod, is not only to promote my self-help, but help to people that, because oftentimes we scroll on the internet and we see something that inspires us.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like our pod can be that light to the next generation. Okay, we scrolling, we know, watch it for a minute, 2 minutes, we don't care, but we want you to take something from every episode to help you move forward and progressive in life, because there's just no room for being toxic. I mean, I personally, like I said, I probably all talked out on it and I don't repeat myself.
Right.
But it's hurtful, man, that you go and you have a status that's positive gets less attention than something that's negative.
That's true.
And that's just on my own personal feed.
That's true.
My own personal experience. If I put something up positive, the engagement is very low. Versus if I put up something where we like to say messy or toxic, people literally gravitate to that. I mean, it's beyond clickbait. It's like people want to know.
Right.
People want to know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's wild. I'm not saying it's going to change in our generation or lifetime, but I don't want to be a product of it any longer. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It could be around me, and I tell people all the time, man, I'm growing up in the wrong generation. I was born in the wrong generation. You know what I'm saying? And when you reach a certain level of growth within self, this is in men and women, that type of stuff gonna turn you off too.
Yeah.
You're gonna have your boundaries. They're gonna be set off back.
Exactly.
I'm not doing this.
Exactly.
And that's okay. It's okay to not want to deal with somebody who smokes cigarettes. It's okay to not want to date somebody that got kids.
Yep.
It's okay to say, okay, I'm not okay with you being out 2, 3 in the morning not checking in with me. Because those are toxic behaviors that we subconsciously accept that then become hurtful.
Exactly.
And then we not emotional and say, oh, I thought they would never do it. But they will.
Yeah.
Or they would. I saw something on social media the other day. This was the caption. It's just an example of what we're talking about. A man and his wife, and the wife was caught with another man at a hotel.
Yeah.
So the video only just kind of showed the guys not necessarily engaged in fighting.
Was the guy saying, hey, that's my wife. That's my wife.
I don't remember the audio, but what I want to get to in that video toward the end, the guy who I'm assuming was the husband, he broke down on a complete stranger. Like his heart was hurt.
Yeah.
My point is, he's seen behavior like that in his wife prior to that day. I don't know what people get out of catching people doing wrong.
Right, yeah.
But when the signs are there, believe them.
Yeah,
when people show you toxic behavior, we have to believe them. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
When people show, and what happens is we then become a participant, and now we emotionally invest, and now we hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Cut your losses.
Yeah.
Cut your losses early. You know, if you seeing the patterns that you don't like, shut that shit down. It's a very simple process. I understand, you know, you got hurt feelings and your feelings involved or whatever the case may be, but it's so much easier to shut it down. It hurt for the moment, and then later on you'll be all right. Yeah. Because the thing is, you better off without them.
And hurt people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it goes. So we want to heal, and it's so important when you're in relationships to like the person, like them beyond the surface.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like beyond sex.
Yeah, definitely beyond the sex, because at some point the sex ain't gonna be what's the keeping power.
Nah,
it just can't be.
It never is.
I always feel like sex is an engagement of emotional bliss. Like in that moment, right? In this moment, I want to express myself. It's a form of self-expression.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily correlate sex with care and love, and I don't think you can, because if you do, and if you get attached in that way, when you don't have it, you have nothing.
Right. Yeah.
You have nothing else in your relationship to fall back on. So if you have a foundation built on loyalty, trust, respect, that will only make, in my opinion, the sex better.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely. You know what I'm saying? Because you can be with somebody all those years and not like them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
because you lose an emotional tie.
Exactly.
And sometimes it was never an emotional tie there, depending on how the relationship was set up from the beginning. You know what I mean? So you lose that emotional tie, and so now you're just in autopilot.
Yeah, that's a good way.
This is just what I'm used to. I wake up and I go to work and I come back home and I see my wife and I talk to my kids, and then I get up and do the same
Rinse
thing.
and repeat.
Yeah. So, and then don't add arguing on top of that. So now I got to argue when I come home from work. Now I got to argue when the most small thing is done, and then you get to the point where you just don't argue no more. Yeah. Because you lose the care. That emotional tie is broken. Emotionally, at one point, this person was everything to you. You're having kids by them. You taking care of them. This, that, and the third. Granted, you do as a man or even a woman, you do a job. You still tied to emotionally taking care of your family or whatever the case may be. But that don't mean you got to stay in the relationship. Yeah, those two. You ain't got to do that. That's a waste of your time.
I agree, man. And showing up in your relationship is important. Showing up every day for your person. It takes work. It ain't no one fire way or no surefire way to guarantee success. But knowing you putting the energy in the right place to make it work for you and your person is very important. It's very important in fighting toxicity. Those moments of weakness emotionally that we're having, because we all human shit. We have bad days. I know I have bad days. I get moody. You know what I'm saying? I might not be my best self, but still knowing that within myself, I can come out of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not allowing that low moment to affect my relationship.
And just to piggyback on that, we're not saying that you can't have an argument. We're not saying that you're not gonna have disagreements. We're not saying that. What we're saying is the cycle of continuously doing this, and then you're miserable in a situation, and then you get that small little adrenaline rush from fighting and arguing, then y'all make up, and then 2 to 3 days later or a week later, y'all back in the same shit. So that's toxic. Yeah, that's where the toxicity comes from. So I mean, if y'all got a disagreement, y'all got an argument, then so be it, or whatever the case may be. Those type of things happen. Yeah. Which those things are avoidable too, but just so y'all can understand what's going on behind the scenes, the producer was just giving an example of a woman calling she get into it with her man, and then she called her family over, her brothers, to beat up the man. Yeah, which is what happens all the time, and then a week later you're back in the same situation, not like nothing has happened. So, but and that's a toxic situation. And what you also have to understand is what the outcome of that could be. Yeah. Because men play different. Yeah. So if you bring your brothers over here to do something to me, then maybe I got to bring my brothers over there to do something to him.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're in a situation of retaliating on somebody you love. That's why a lot of times you might hear guys say, or family members even say, I'm not getting involved
in that.
Because I know for a fact you're going to be right back with him next week. So, and I've seen people, they put it to the side that a guy hit the girl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you've been dealing with that, so continue to deal with it. I told you to leave the situation alone a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, if I get involved and he dies, then I'm going to jail, and then you're going to be back with him, or you're going to be upset, or
back a participant,
right? Yeah, with another dude.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, that's a dangerous game that people play when they're in those toxic relationships. These girls in these toxic relationships, and things go too far.
Yeah.
Or sometimes the girl don't even have to say, "Hey, he did something to me." A family member might just probably say, "Hey, he did something to you."
Yeah.
And then they might act on their own.
Yeah.
But because you put your family member in that situation, because you're in a toxic situation, and you got girl family members who were after their brother, they male cousins and family members like that too.
Yeah.
They don't play, they don't play about them, because the thing is, they be like, yo, you can't hit her, but I can. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So now they in a situation. Yeah. Now they on World Star. Yeah. World Star? Is World Star still a thing?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. And ultimately, man, it just ain't no room for that, man. It just, it creates a cycle of violence and abuse that our youth are seeing. And we go back to 3-4 episodes ago why our youth is acting this way.
Yeah.
Because they've been seeing these toxic behaviors from adults that we've been calling it love. It ain't love.
No, it ain't. You know what? Let me dip into that real quick.
Go ahead.
When I gotta completely agree with you on what you're saying, because when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, I saw women on Facebook saying, and saying, yes, girl, this how you protect your woman. Mm-hmm. That's what you're supposed to do. This is this, that, and the third, this, that, and blah, blah, blah. So if you're teaching your kids that becomes a problem, because this is my opinion about the Will Smith slap. I think it was some straight sucker shit to do. Number one, he cracked a joke in the setting that you crack jokes in.
Yeah.
Number two, Will could have ruined his whole life, career, everything behind that.
Yeah.
Number three, had he went down the stairs and Chris Rock tripped him and kicked him in his back or knocked him down and he just say hurt himself real bad, it was all his fault.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, if you cheat, to me, that's some soft shit, because a real man emotionally takes care of himself and can the biggest. There is no difference in Will Smith slapping Chris Rock because he made an emotional decision, than King Von getting killed because he made an emotional decision. Yeah. So to compare the two, Will Smith had an emotional reaction as a man to a joke that was said about his wife in a setting where jokes are to be said about the people who sitting in the audience. Normal shit. King Von had an emotional reaction to something that another rapper said, saw that rapper, and he reacted. He started to beat the actor up, and then retaliation happened, and it cost him his life. Yeah. So what if Chris Rock brother was there?
Yeah.
Who would as women or as people who are looking at this and rooting Will Smith on, would y'all still be rooting him on had Chris Rock brother just came out the crowd and shot Will?
Exactly.
So we can't play this two sides, because the thing is, as a man, you're not allowed to be that emotional and make these badass decisions. That's the problem. The reason why there's so many kids and shit now, because they make emotional decisions over logical decisions. The logical decision to carjack somebody does not make sense.
Yeah.
When you got a 15-year-old carjacking somebody and he has nothing to do with the car except joyride in it, that's not a logical decision.
Yeah.
So when you got the decision to shoot somebody just to retaliate, mind you, there is no money involved in this. You just shoot. Y'all just shooting to be shooting. These are emotional decisions. Nothing logical is happening behind none of this stuff.
Nope.
So when you put yourself in emotional situations, the same overly emotional dudes that y'all deal with, who sit there and cry, who sit there and fight, who sit there and argue with y'all are the same ones that go in and out of jail, the same ones that beat y'all ass up, and the same ones that put you in these toxic situations. So my other key takeaway from this: find you a emotionally stable man and get with him, somebody who can take care of themselves and hold themselves as a man and be honorable and goddamn it, hold themselves accountable for their own actions. Because that Will Smith thing was some sucker shit.
Yeah, that's a great take on it. So we get down to the end of this episode. It's been great. And I'll give my final piece on it. Moving forward, we just got to learn how to love again.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is. We have to reset what we thought was love and affection and all that, and relearn it in a way that works for us now.
Exactly.
That's progressive and positive. Because I don't want my lady calling me a nigga and all that. My name, that's not gonna make me feel loved.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I want to be patted on the back. I want to be told good job.
Yeah.
We have to be okay with that as men, hearing positive things and not making it appear that it's such a sensitive or emotional thing. It is emotional. You are a freaking human being.
Yeah.
You have emotions. So to move in a way of numbness only makes you more susceptible to do bad things or toxic things. So going forward, it's going to be anti-toxic pro-love, man. T-shirts coming soon.
Peace.
We out.